Hello learners, welcome back to my channel Shraddha's Physics. In this lecture, we will discuss on the binding energy core and its importance. So in the previous lecture, we have already discussed about the mass defect and the binding energy. You know this binding energy of the nucleus, it is the energy with which the nucleons are bound in the nucleus. That is, the nucleons means these are the combination of the protons and the neutrons. The force or the energy with which these nucleons are bound, that is called the binding energy, or simply we can say that this is the work required to be done to separate the nucleons to an infinite distance so that they may not interact with each other. So that is also called as the binding energy. And mathematically we can write this binding energy equal to delta mc square. That is, delta m is nothing but Zme plus A minus Z into Mn minus M capital N. This is the mass of the nucleus and small n for the mass of the neutrons whole into c square. Because the mass defect is the defect in the masses. That is, if we will consider the whole mass of the nucleus and if we will consider the individual proton mass, that is this Z into Mp plus if we will consider the individual neutrons present, if we will consider the individual neutrons present, that is suppose A minus Z number of neutrons present, and if you will multiply this mass of the neutrons, then you will get A minus Z into Mn, that is the total mass of the nucleons, that is the neutrons. For this case we have calculated the mass of the neutrons, and if we will multiply this Z with the Mp, we will get the mass of the protons. Then the sum of this Zmp with the A minus Zmn, we will get the mass of the nucleus. And again, if we will subtract this from this total mass, if we will consider as a whole, so this will give the mass of the nucleus. So the difference between these two, if we will consider individually and if we will consider as a whole, the slightly difference you will observe, that will gives to the mass defect. And if you will simply multiply this with the c square term, you will get the binding energy. According to the Einstein mass energy relation, you know E equal to mc square. Now we will see the binding fraction core, or it is also known as the binding energy core. This is called the variation of the binding energy per nucleon with the mass number, and here we will see the main features of the binding energy core. Here you can see the graph is plotted between the mass number, that is A, and the average binding energy per nucleon. Okay. This curve reveals the following facts. So the first is the average binding energy per nucleon for the light nuclei. These are your light nuclei. You can see the hydrogen atom, that is 1h1, 1s2, 1s3. These are your light nuclei. So for the light nuclei, the average binding energy per nucleon, this is very small. Okay. So it lies at this point. So for mass numbers ranging from 2 to 20, for the mass number ranging from 2 to 20, there are sharply defined peaks corresponding to, here you can see for the He4, 2He4. Let me zoom it. So in this case you can see for the 2He4, for the C612 at this point, 612, that is carbon, and for the oxygen 816, there are sharply defined peaks. So within this, that is range, that is when A varies from 2 to 20, in that range there are sharply defined peaks corresponding to this helium, carbon, oxygen, etc. So these peaks indicate that these nuclei are relatively more stable than the other nuclei in their neighborhood. So these are more stable in nature, that is the helium, carbon, oxygen, etc. So here you can see this binding fraction, it goes on increasing rapidly with the increasing A. When you increase this mass number, you can see when you will increase this mass number, it will goes on increasing and reaches a value of 8 MeV. So at this point you can see here, at this point, at this 8 MeV, near about to 8 MeV, here at this point 8 MeV, 8 MeV per nucleon for the mass number A near about 20. So thereafter the rise of the curve is much slower. Now you can see after that the rise will be very slower and that after it will goes on decreasing manner. So thereafter the rise of the curve is much slower, reaching a maximum value of 8.7 MeV per nucleon for A equal to 56, that is for the iron atom. Okay. If A is increased still further, the curve decreases slowly. So you can see that if I will further increase the mass, that is after this iron atom, that is A equal to 56, you will further increase the mass number, then this curve, that is the binding energy per nucleon, it will goes on decreasing manner. So the variation in this binding energy fraction Fb is very slight in the mass number ranging from 20 to 180, and in this region this Fb may be considered to be virtually constant with a mean value of 8.5 MeV per nucleon. And for A greater than 180, that is for the heavy nuclei, the Fb value it decreases. Fb value means the binding energy per nucleon. Okay, its value decreases monotonically with the increasing A, and it is near about 7.5 MeV per nucleon for the heaviest nuclei. So you can see here, for the heaviest nuclei, this will be 7.5 MeV. This is just near about 7.5 MeV per nucleon. So a rapid fluctuation in Fb, it is noted for very light nuclei with the peaks in the curve in this region corresponding to the even nuclei such as helium, beryllium, carbon, oxygen, that is with the mass number A equal to 4n, where n equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. So the peaks in the curve are also seen at Z or n equal to 20, 28, 50, 82, 126, and these are called your magic numbers. So these are called your, that is the proton number and the neutron number equal to 20, 28, 50, 82, 126. Only these are called the magic numbers. So this is your binding fraction curve. That is, as the mass number increases, here you can see as the mass number increases, the binding energy per nucleon it decreases gradually, falling to about 7.6 MeV, that is 7.6 MeV per nucleon, that is for 90 to U238. So the decrease, it may be due to the Coulomb repulsion between the protons. So because of the proton-proton repulsion, it decreases. So the heavy nuclei are therefore relatively less stable in nature. Now we will see the importance of this binding energy curve. Now we will see the importance of the binding energy curve. When we move from the heavy nuclear region to the middle region of the plot, we find that there will be a gain in the overall binding energy. So the release of energy also takes place. It means that the energy can be released when a heavy nucleus, this is suppose a heavy nucleus, A is near about 240, that is suppose you will consider the uranium-235 nucleus, it breaks into two roughly equal fragments, and this process is called the nuclear fission. That is, a single atom when it will break into the two equal fragments, that is called the nuclear fission. Okay, in the process of fission it will break into the two parts, or it may be, or the process may be goes on and on. Similarly, we can say that when we move from the lighter nuclei to the heavier nuclei, again we find that there will be gain in the overall binding energy. Okay, here also the gain. So the release of energy also occurs. This indicates that the energy can be released when two or more lighter nuclei, they will fuse together to form a heavy nucleus, that is called the nuclear fusion. So in case of the nuclear fusion, that is fusion means when two or more lighter nuclei will fuse together. So in that process it will form a heavier nucleus. So that process is called the fusion. But in case of the fission process, one heavier nucleus, it will break into different part, that is having the lighter nuclei, then this process is called fission. In fission process, the lighter nuclei will form from the heavier nuclei, but in the fusion process, the lighter nuclei will combine together to form the heavier nuclei. So this is the basic difference between the fusion and fission. Okay. So the importance of this binding energy curve is that it led us to the possibility of the release of the nuclear energy, that is, it leads to the release of the nuclear energy by the process of nuclear fission and the nuclear fusion. This phenomena of the nuclear fission and nuclear fission is discovered actually later, but in this binding energy curve, from this binding energy curve, we got the conclusion that there will be a release of the nuclear energy in the process of nuclear fission as well as in the process of nuclear fusion. In both the cases, the energy will be released. Okay. So this is all about your binding energy curve or the binding fraction curve and its importance. So this is all for today. Thank you.